the only constant is change. That really stuck with me. And here I am, some 30 years later, still trying to accept that. Hey, Dave Dirt Missive here, and you know what today is? Today's a new bike day. A lot of changes. Probably gonna be talking a little bit about that. Let's ride and have some fun. My first job when I got out of school, corporate America. Really kind of learned to hate that job, and with it corporate America. But you know, I learned a lot of things in that role, and one thing that they would beat us upside the head with, the management, was they were always talking about evolution and the need for change, and that the only constant is change. That really stuck with me. And here I am, some 30 years later, still trying to accept that. You know, change can be bad and good both, or one or the other. Both at the same time. It could be a lot of things. And with all the change, I thought I'd change something that was under my control. And like I mentioned before, today's a new bike day. I was on a carbon V3 transition Sentinel for about a couple of years. Man, I really love that bike. It was pretty amazing in every way. In fact, it might be one of my favorite bikes I've ever had. Full carbon, super tricked out, XO axis, full robot transmission, full Fox factory, everything. Super nice hand-built wheels. Man, that thing was, it's the kind of bike that you just look at it and be like, damn, everybody loved that bike. Even if they didn't have a chance to ride it, people like that bike because of how that thing was dead sexy. Really fantastic riding bike. But after a lot of thought, there was some things I didn't love about it. You don't have to love everything, even the things you love. You don't have to love everything about it. So I sold that bike. So I guess this isn't necessarily a new bike day. I did get one ride on this. Short ride, about an hour. Today is first real ride. And You know, I sold the old Sentinel as sexy and awesome and wanted as that bike was. I picked up another Sentinel. Same but different. Went from carbon to aluminum. Just out of curiosity. Been a while since I've been on a metal bike. And I went from full Mac Daddy robot drivetrain to cable driven Eagle 90. And I went from full Fox factory to a Lyric Select Plus fork, and I tossed on a Vivid Air in the back. Definitely a less expensive build, you know, and if these two bikes were sitting next to each other on the floor, brand new, one person might look at that other bike, that old bike, as a better bike. I don't know. What's better? The allure of carbon? Wireless, electronic shifting? I don't know. After having those for a while, I don't know that they really enriched my riding experience. So, time for a change. And so far, only probably an hour and a half in on this new bike, I'm really liking this change. Last summer I read a book I've been wanting to check out for a long time, actually. It's Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Kind of a philosophical book in a lot of ways. And probably could have shortened it up quite a bit. I don't think it really got good till the end, but man, that dude was really centered on this concept of his called quality, and he talked about that for pretty much the whole book, so much so that it was kind of exhausting. And I don't know, it's kind of how I feel with myself on clarity. It's like, fuck, what is clarity? Why am I fixated on it? And I'm starting to figure out at least why I'd been focused on it. You know, I touched earlier on it that really clarity just means that you can see. And I've been really honed in on that, I think, because I realized what a fog maybe I had been in a lot of aspects in my life, both personally and professionally. And I feel like I needed to kind of get my shit together, man, with eating and drinking and my body, just so I could see what the hell is going on with me. And for better or worse, it's kind of worked, in that, to quote Jimmy Cliff, I can see clearly now that the rain is gone. Oh man, can I ever. Tying that in with the only constant being change. Whew. What to do next? That's the question, right? Shit, you can have all the clarity I want, but it doesn't really tell me where the hell to go from here. When I first started down this path, this journey, doing some video journaling and sharing it, you know, I started with talking about what it was going to take to build a better me. And it's good to have a check-in once in a while. So I check in with myself pretty regularly, see where I'm at. Yeah, it's tough. You know, when you get out of the shower, you feel all fresh and clean. You go to look in the mirror. Well, the mirror's foggy and you can't see. So you have no choice but to come back when the fog is gone. I feel like now a lot of that fog is gone, and starting to polish the mirror for better reflection and really seeing into the mirror. Wow. Not only has that been insightful, but also hard, painful, I've been able to see some of my own patterns where I let myself down, and looking back on things I could and should have done differently to better respect myself, things that I value. Some really important people in my life have imparted to me some wisdom about mirrors, in that, unbeknownst to me previously, there are such things as good mirrors and bad mirrors. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that. I had always thought that there are only just mirrors, but I think a lot of that comes back to that framing. And I've been looking into a lot of different mirrors really carefully. I didn't necessarily find a good mirror or a bad mirror, but I found different things depending on when I looked in the mirror and how my mindset was going into that, and how I phrased, or rather how I framed my vision in that mirror. Still working on that. Here's one change I've made. Has made a massive difference. Just eating, even on the bike. Haven't been doing bike candy, been doing fruit. Been eating tons of oranges and apples and bananas, and look at this. It's a good place for an apple